Is it recording? Does it show that it's recording?
Easier has started recording.
All right. Welcome to the Local Service Podcast episode. I don't know what, and it's not fly on the wall because we're not actually in person this time. We're actually, why are you so zoomed into the camera?
Man, you're the same way. You're super big on my screen right now. I don't know how to adjust this.
Yeah, weird. But anyways, I think today will be a really good day to talk about our local SEO growth, literally within like the last month. I think, well, I guess for me, we've been offering search engine optimization services, but from a very like, what would you call it? A very soft level, like a very entry level. Yeah, it's a very entry level. It is best practices, but I wouldn't say it's level 1. If there's 10 levels of SEO, we're probably doing like level 3. Like,
I would agree, especially since I've started working, and then I would say the past like 6 months or so, just doing a little bit of research when I have time, or just studying up on some things, looking at different websites, definitely help polish or give me a better understanding of what local SEO is and different strategies to use on our websites that we build.
Yeah, because I would say from a like what we offer as a service, which is a package with Google Ads, web design, SEO, and Google Profile Management. As a service, whenever we would build a site, we would do the home about, the service pages, the service area pages, kind of like endlessly, and contact, because we just wanted to have like deliverables for the SEO side. And I think it's right, but you can expand so much more on it, and you can do so much more, not research per se, but like you can prioritize more effectively than we were doing.
Yeah. For sure.
So, I don't know from and it's funny because for nobody that knows how the internal workings work, is basically Antonio's been doing the SEO, but also not doing it, and then doing the SEO from the web design side instead of on the monthly side. And for me, as like the person that's setting up the services, I've always kind of struggled, like, is it possible to do SEO all up front versus doing SEO on a monthly basis? And I think we found like a decent middle ground, I think, which is now our websites aren't web designs on their own. They're actually SEO sprints. So what you've been doing, Antonio, we've been basically doing SEO sprints for free with the website for free. I mean, we say included, but essentially we've been doing $500, like literally for $500, you would get a full website with endless pages. It didn't matter. It could be a home and about, a services with 10 services, service areas with 15 service areas, and a contact. I mean, fairly optimized for $500.
Yeah. And now that retrospect, like thinking back, or now knowing what I know now, it's like, dang, like that's crazy.
In hindsight, I think that's why you do things like that. It's because you don't know. And when you don't know, you don't charge for it. Like, how can you charge for something that you don't know that you're doing?
Yeah.
Now that we see the value in our own stuff, it's like, oh, okay, we can adjust our price. I think we're still including the website for quote unquote free, or sorry, it's included, but we're not going to go all crazy with the search engine optimization up front.
Yeah. So when I first started doing like the website process stuff, we would only do like the 5 pages, then over time, like I just started doing,
You just got it out of control.
All the service pages, and then all the service pages turn into, well, let's add in 5 more service area pages, and just 5 and 5 and service pages and service area pages. That's 10 optimized pages already,
And I think what I found out too is, so we have the endless optimization, which is like, for example, one of our clients, I'll just say True Shine, he was on our package, and we did the home. We recreated his site. We did the home about the services, the service areas, and then we did all the service areas. He's like, well, that's kind of it. Like, I don't go outside of these areas. And then we started doing keyword specific pages. So like if somebody's looking for like a luxury car detailing, we made something for that. And then the following month, we were like, well, what can we do now? We would do like, what about Tesla ceramic? Like,
yeah,
that's actually not wrong, but that would be like the highest degree of SEO. Like you're search engine optimizing for like the most ridiculous thing.
Certain keyword, like yeah, once you run out, like you can go on anything and just look up search volume and say what are they looking up for them specifically. And if it's a lot of Tesla stuff, well, let's go ahead and make a Tesla ceramic coating page, you know? Like,
Correct. But now it's more like, hey, we're gonna optimize up to a certain degree, and then we're just gonna monitor. But because we have different different services within our package, we can focus on the other packages, or we can like do like a sprint even after we're done with the first like 6 months or whatever.
yeah.
But definitely like endlessly optimizing. It doesn't make sense from a business model. Like it doesn't work. Especially it's more evident now that we're more people because well, we got to pay people. So like we can't just be mindlessly doing it indefinitely. And look what you did. And you can't Antonio's camera went. I think if you put your
Oh,
yeah.
I gotta stay.
No, I think if you put your hand over it, it'll adjust. Well, it did it. What yeah. And so that's those are some things that I've realized about search engine optimization, which is not my background. I would say I have like I think I have like 3-4 years of experience now, but expanding on it has really been like, I guess, eye-opening in the sense of like how much work it is. Like it is a lot more work than Google Ads.
No, yeah, definitely more extensive work too, you know, like finding the right keywords and then long tail keywords, making sure it's just not mumbo jumbo spit on a page, which, you know, like I start thinking like you see pages that are like 2,000 words long, and I'm like, what could you possibly be saying for like 2,000 words? Like, you know, so it's just like, I guess there's different strategies, different avenues, different approaches that you can take with SEO in itself. Like you say, it's so complicated, broad. Like it's just complicated in general.
Yeah, and then it kind of makes you think about like, because I've always been a Google Ads guy or a paid guy. Like that's my world. SEO has always been something I avoided just for the simple fact that I don't like it. Like it's more like labor, it's more research, it's just more tedious.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking like, well, what's no need to do this, but for funsies, it's like, well, what's better, right? Like what's if you can do one thing or the other, like what are the pros and cons of it? And so the pros for me for Google Ads is that it's instant and you can tell a result within like a month. If you're not getting leads, if you're not getting calls, and you believe the campaign is set up correctly, well, then it's probably not going to do that well, assuming it's in season. Like things are like it's a good timing for ads.
Yeah.
But the problem with Google Ads is that you can waste a bunch of money. So like if you have $1,000 ad spend, which I'm not going to say that's a bunch of money or not a bunch of money, but like whatever the budget is, 100,000 or 1,000, and then you set up like a poorly set up campaign going to a poorly set up landing page or website, you're literally going to waste that money. Versus with SEO, the drawback is it takes time, but if you do it right, it's quote unquote free traffic. But the downside of that is that you may never get a lead, or it may take way too long to ever achieve that, or it's way too competitive. So like, that's why it's always the right answer is always like do both. Like if you can do both, it will benefit in one way or the other.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just giving them different routes, options to try to get a lead, if you would, you know, like we're not just limited to a certain service.
Yeah, and it sucks because I don't even like the way I look at our current clients now. I'm like, damn, like we almost can't offer what we are going to offer now because it's changed drastically.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, like for a lot of clients, we have to do like basic optimization still, unless we, like, I don't even know, like if we included real SEO work on a monthly basis, like each package would have to double.
Yeah,
like on a monthly basis, because. And I actually don't think we have enough people. Like if we were for real to do SEO work, we would need like 4 contractors.
Just be doing like, hey, you have 8 clients, and you have 8 clients, and your job per month is to, I mean, we can have a checklist or whatever, just optimize it, you know, like are there backlinks? Make a section for backlinks. Like I mentioned to you, like I want to do it, but I'm like, damn, like it's a lot of time on top of what I'm doing now. But like I did want to go through all the websites and just like I said, I showed you a paragraph. Like if you're looking for other services and just list your other services, and that's a perfect opportunity to do interlinking, like just right then and there. Like it's
And
but,
I really like, for example, like just having that reviews page. I thought that was really cool.
yeah.
Like every customer having a reviews page that can interlink, that can shout out the Yelp, the Google profile, the whatever Better Business Bureau. So it's pretty crazy. I mean, I feel like I've and it's cool because like we hired somebody for it, and then you really have to ask the question, well, what is SEO anyways? Like what is it that they're supposed to be doing? So like it makes you think about it that much more.
Once you have an SEO person on board, like
Yeah, because they're like, hey, well, I mean, in our experience, it was like, hey, I know the process.
Yeah.
And then we were like, that's probably not really the process.
I mean, I think I never per se was like, hey, we probably shouldn't be doing this way, because one, the way I think, like I don't think that's my place. Like if you like this, you know, you're the small business owner of Symphony Advertising, so like ultimately you have the final say. But just like I felt like I was getting into a groove with how I was doing something with the local SEO, and then just kind of switched up. And then like you said, like, well, what is being done other than just setting up and planning for the future, you know, instead of delivering right now, like a deliverable for a client, like, hey, this month we updated 3 pages, you know.
Yeah.
What do they know? Like, you know, like they don't know, well, why didn't you do 10? Like, no, they're gonna be like, oh, okay, cool, like, you know, they're optimizing my website.
Yeah, and then I mean, part of it was also like, it's funny because someone with agency experience, it may translate over or it may not. And I think in this scenario it didn't, because I mean, we're just because 2 companies offer SEO, it doesn't mean they're offered the same way.
Yeah.
And then on top of that too is like, what if it does work? And I think we gave it a fair shot. It was like a month and a half or something, 2 months maybe, with the process that we set up that didn't work. But I think it's worth I think it was worth it. And then with so we hired a new guy who's going to be helping. I don't even know with what, but I think in a way I want this person to be more of a like client facing. Like I'm actually cool with the easy, low hanging fruit client facing stuff, because that will both help me tremendously, and I think it'll help you tremendously, because half the stuff that we do is like, dude, this could be any human being. Like web edits.
Him telling the web designer, like not the web designer me, this guy. Like I know it. I see what you mean, like for sure. But
like literally any web edit thing is not worth your time and not worth my time. I'm not saying it's not worth it. We could put our time towards the website projects.
Yeah.
Or even the SEO projects, obviously.
Yeah.
And then same for me.
I think like I think I know a little bit of everything, and I think that's what you're kind of looking for too, like another person to do a little bit of and be decent at it, you know, like not just like, oh, I'm not gonna ask questions because I don't understand something, and I'm just gonna let time go, and then you're in this shit. I mean, this pickle where you're like, and then Caesar's coming out like, what do you did he ask you? Did he ask me? No, he didn't ask. They didn't ask anybody. Like, you know, like just. But like what I just said, like somebody that can know, like you can talk to a client, you can relay information, you can absorb the information, you can actually do the information. Like if you need to do it right then and there, like make a link something to a page, you know, like somebody that could do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I think we need another one of those. Like somebody who could do like what you do, like just. I mean, I would say you now at this point, you know a lot more than, I mean, obviously than when you first started.
Yeah.
But somebody who can kind of like follow that next, be that next person, and also just remove a lot of that, like I said, not lower hanging fruit, like the more basic stuff. Like, dude, you don't need, it doesn't have to be you. For example, like yesterday we closed that new client, and then it was cool because he was here, because I don't even know what we can pass on to him until I'm doing it. I'm like, why am I doing this? So a client closed, and it's like, hey, we need to get your Google Ads ID, your Google profile page, website access. And it took me like 2 hours to get. Like by the time I like moved it around, I can reach the client, sending the video on how to do it. It's like, dude, this literally, you could literally do this job. So I think a lot of that onboarding stuff, he's gonna be able to do. And let's talk about a little bit about like, I mean, will it work out or not work out? Nobody knows.
Nobody. I mean, when I worked out,
that's my point.
You know, like, but along like my thing too, dude. Like, you have to have like be strong will and strong minded to do the amount of work. I mean, it's a lot of work, but in my eyes, it's still manageable. Like, you should still be able to get stuff done. Like, you know, it's not like, oh my gosh, like I can't do this. Like, but it just ruins my whole day. You know, like,
yeah, the core,
yeah,
the core stuff. Like, can we move the big, like 80% of it? Yes, we're gonna lose stuff in the process. Yes, we're gonna miss out some details. Yes, this and that. But overall, can we be effective with the time that we do put in? And it's hilarious because this guy, have I told you this? Like, where he's currently working?
You told me.
He's currently working at Urban Outfitters, and he's been in retail for like the last, I think, 3 years. And he's applied for the roles 3 times. When I was at my brother's office, when we were at the Post, and then again when now that I'm here at this house, and I'm like, and here, this is my thought process when it came to like hiring this dude. So number one, he's always showed interest, and the very first time he came to meet me, he was part of like the whole like kind of like multi-level marketing. Like he was in that little like insurance life insurance thing, and he came and he never sold to me. He was just genuinely curious about like what it is. I thought he was gonna come and like, hey, buy my insurance, but he didn't. And I was like, that's interesting. It was just, I always kept that in my head. And then so he stopped that and he went and started working at that like retail. And then the other thing I looked at is like, well, he's been working that job for 2 years, so he hasn't left, which means he shows up, he does his job. He got like promoted to like not store manager, but like whatever is below
store
that.
Manager or something.
Yeah, so like, okay, I mean, you're a hardworking, maybe not even hardworking, but like you show up
and you do it.
And you do what you have to do. Yeah. And then it is retail, so like it's like you're talking to people. You're always
yeah.
So I saw that like, even though it's not directly at all related to digital marketing, I was like,
but it's certain skills like your communication skills, punctuality skills, trustworthy, loyalty, you know.
And I think at the beginning that matters more than, especially for this role, like because the role isn't actually. I was like, dude, you're gonna come in, we're gonna figure it out. I don't exactly know. Yeah. So like,
he could have been like, nah, like, you know, like, but like I said, he seems eager to learn.
And it's funny because we were here and I was like, do you miss Urban Outfitters already? He's like, no. And then we found a playlist on Spotify, the Urban Outfitters playlist. So we were playing it. So it was like he was still at Urban Outfitters.
He's grinding, bro, just listening to the playlist.
But yeah, so those are some kind of things that I was like, let's give it a shot, because there is more experienced people. And this one's a little bit different too, because it's similar to you, because whenever you started here, you quit your job.
Yeah.
I don't know if you got a week or 2 weeks.
I put 2 weeks in.
But you did the whole 2 weeks?
Yeah. Well, I actually know that was a big ordeal with someone else that quit. We were in the same department, so they're like, just don't come back the rest of it. But I still got paid, but they're like, just don't come back. And I was like, say less.
So similar situation. He's like, hey, well, I'm gonna put my 2 weeks, like, because we tried doing like part-time thing, but like those hours are weird. Like you work like 11 a.m. to like 8 p.m.
Yeah.
So there's really not a whole lot of like free time for like.
You don't want like shoddy work either, for him being just drained, trying to do things and just make like a bonehead mistake because he's so tired from his other job.
Yes. So I was like, screw it. Let's go for it. And so, yeah, like normally we start part-time, but he's going to start full-time. And we're just going to see. And he did it. So I was like.
And it looked like, I saw like he was doing the post. Like it was literally like exactly how I did it. And I was like, oh, okay, this dude's not quite. If you tell him how to do something, he's gonna do it that way because that's how we taught it. Like they're not gonna, well, let's try this way, or let me see if this will work. No, he's like, it's literally, you were literally saying, it's the simplicity of just posting and just doing it, not make overcomplicating things.
Especially that, like, yeah, that
Yeah,
is like,
just post it.
and then yeah, it was super cool. The other giant benefit of this hire is that he's in Houston. So like it was cool because I was like, hey, I'm just gonna just shadow me and I'm just gonna start working and then you'll learn like this. And then maybe we spent like 30 minutes and I was doing something. I was like, wait a minute, you can do this. And then I just moved out the way. He moved in with his chair and then he just started doing it. And so it's like, it's very advantageous to be like monkey see, monkey do type thing.
I think he made a TikTok about that yesterday.
Yeah,
and it reminded me of when I started working with you. We had the office and you did the same exact thing, dude. You just threw me in there. You're like, you do this. All right, now you do this. And now you do this. And I'm like, well, that helps me a lot because I'm more of a visual learner. Like if you're right there and then you see me doing something, and he's like, well, don't do that. All right, I'm gonna remember, like, don't do that. Or hey, try this.
And then some other thing that are beneficial is that the phone calls. So like I had a new sales call come in and close the deal. They paid. So he saw the whole process and then I explained the whole process. And then also like the in between the line stuff. Like, for example, with our local SEO person, like she's claimed that she knows what she's doing, but I'm pretty sure if she was here in person, I would have been like, but do you really? Like I would have said like, but really do you? And I think that would have opened up the door with like, well, I kind of do, and I'm willing to learn, but I mean, I don't know everything. And then we could have gone down that path of like, well, let's see how much you do know. So like
explain SEO, just because you can explain it doesn't mean you know how to do exactly. Versus like if your brother was to interview her, like, hey, tell me SEO, and he's just gonna be there like, or maybe asking questions that we don't understand about SEO in a sense,
Yeah, and it's also true, like the whole thing where you give somebody an assignment. I mean, I'm a proponent of like pay for the time. So like before we hire somebody, like imagine if we were to say, hey, you sound like you know what you're doing. We'll pay $50 for you to do this on-page optimization. And honestly, I don't know how crazy this would be, but like it'll be from 1:30 to 2:30. We can see how much you get done, and we'll release the assignment and turn it off. And you'll turn it in like an hour. And that way, like you're paying for the time. But then there's no way to like not cheat, but like you can only accomplish what you can accomplish in an hour and a half. I'm sorry, in an hour. Yeah. So like the other day, which was yesterday, she finally texted me. Let's just go through this process. Where we gave her like a month and a half to do her way of doing it. We didn't really see anything. And it started involving the web designer more and more to like upload it and to design it. But I'm like, it's really not that hard to learn, especially because we're small. Like we don't have that flexibility or that I don't know. We don't have that option really as much. And then I was like, okay, let's just do one thing today. Let's just do one client. I said 2 clients, half the day do one client, half the day the other client. And she's like, cool. And then it was like noon, and I was like, is there anything? Like, have you done anything? And it was like, well, I'm still optimizing and I'm still, making sure the keywords look good and this and that. I was like, okay, sure. But there was still nothing. Like there was nothing. And then finally she texted me. She's like, hey, I'm super frustrated and overwhelmed. Can we have a call? And then finally she's like, I mean, I know how to do this stuff, but like, there's like, I don't know how to implement it. And I was like, dude, yes, like, please. I usually tell people like, dude, pretend like you don't know anything. Even if you do, just pretend like you don't. Yeah. And it'll be a much easier process to like progress.
Get a better understanding on where literally they're at with their understanding of what we do.
Yeah.
Like you said, bringing a process in for someone. Well, we should maybe like, hey, this is how we're doing it right now. Let's see how that goes for a month and a half. Like I said, we were just optimizing pages. Like, like we, woulda, coulda, shoulda, but
yeah. And in that regard, it's like I usually want to see like people's cards. Mm-hmm. Like she claimed to bring A, B, and C, And it's like, okay, well, if that's true, let's see it. But obviously it wasn't there. So like, and then on the other hand too, it's like, I don't know if it's called being sympathetic, but like, that's what you're supposed to do in an interview. That's what you're supposed to say. Like you're supposed to be about, yes, I know how to do this. Yes, I can figure it out. And then when the time comes, I mean, that's the kind of like crappy part, because maybe you don't know as much as you claim you did. But in this person's defense, as we've seen, is showed up, put in a lot of effort, generally easy to get along with, team player type stuff. So like, it's okay. Like if it would have been,
she could be the person of hats too. You know, she can get involved, do a little bit of everything. Like if she's worried about how to maneuver the back end of Elementor and implement the updates, I mean, that's a Loom video away from.
Dude, it was like a 6-minute call that she needed in order to get to the next step. And it's like, you don't need to know everything, and you don't need to solve everything by yourself. Like it is okay. But I get it though. Like then you show your cards like, oh yeah, I don't know. I mean, but then you would never win, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like that too to a certain extent, but then you start 30 minutes has passed by on a 10-minute job. You're like, all right, dude, just ask. Caesar will get mad or annoyed or whatever, but you're gonna get the answer and you're gonna move forward. And I'm gonna be stuck another 30 minutes trying to figure something out.
Yeah, and I think for me, as a small business owner, for me, it's more like I would 100,000% rather have somebody ask me than be stuck on something forever. But the progression has to happen. So if that issue was an issue yesterday, and then that issue is again today, and it's the issue again tomorrow, it's like, okay, well, you're not really learning.
Yeah.
You're not. Obviously, some things take 20 times so you can learn it. For example, taking a website live, I still feel like I get stuck when I do that.
Yeah, when it's out of the ordinary, what I usually do, I'm like, oh, here you go. How do I diagnose this?
So it does take repetition, but like at some point, that person has to show progress, or else it's like, okay, well, you're not really fit for the role then. So, and that's not their fault or our fault, but at the same time, it doesn't make business sense to keep a person like that if they can't not even grow. It's more like meet the demands of the role, in my opinion. So yeah, that's too deep. This is too deep. This isn't a fun one. This is more of like this is real life, you know.
Oh, we need to come up with a clever name then for a different segment or a different
Oh yeah, I like that. Good idea. We can call this one like
deep cut, or I don't know, something along those lines.
Symphony Advertising, deep cuts, grilling, reality check,
something with marketing or advertising in it. We're gonna figure something out. That'd be this is different. We're like
how your team can drag you down type thing.
This has definitely been an interesting, I think, more interactive podcast than the other ones. I guess because we are relating to like legit stuff between us and the company, so it's not like trying to outsource topics to tie into the company. Like this is legitimately has to do with Symphony Advertising.
Literally.
How
can you tell how long this has been going?
At least 20 minutes.
Damn. Well, I think that's pretty good. I think we can end it at this segment. And nice virtual one. It's not too hard.
No, it's not. Carmen called me as soon as we started like 5 minutes in.
Oh.
I had sent her a text message though because I didn't want to be there. Like I said, people don't ask questions. They just sit back. I learned my lesson once. I'm not going to do it again, even if I look like an idiot asking a question over and over again. Because they had never hit me back from the friend not being able to purchase online. I'm like, dude, I need the access to that. And they said that Lauren needs to verify information for anybody to get into authorized.net.
Gotcha.
But
let's take care of that. I also got to jump in the meeting as well.
The beauty thing or whatever.
No, I got to show Alyssa how to do some stuff, which is perfect.
Yeah.
I'm down. If it results in doing something for someone, dub. All right, sir. Thanks for joining, and everyone, thanks for catching along. I guess we'll upload this to YouTube too. I don't know how to stop the recording though. Oh, there it goes. Stop recording.